In this video, we're going to deal with the common errors that students make when they sit their foundation and the higher examinations, particularly in relation to the speaking. So if you're interested in this, stick around. You may want to take some notes at the same time because I have not made a PowerPoint about this. So make a list for yourself of my 10 tips or write them down and write them in the comments below. That would be very nice. So first of all, a mistake that I've come across many times over my 10 years of teaching French as a foreign language in the UK is that students put S's at the end of every word and they make them sound. And that's the problem because putting S's at the end of words is not a problem in itself when you do some writing, but when you do some speaking, it is. So for example, you wouldn't say les hommes portent un t-shirt. You will have to say les hommes portent un t-shirt because you would not hear the S's at the end of words. And so is the same with consonants as well. So if you say les hommes portent un t-shirt, they wear a t-shirt. Porte is ENT at the end. Here's the bell. Don't go anywhere. And you need to also make sure that you don't pronounce it at ENTs. Though. So there are things that are silent at the end of words in French. Why not going online and find out for yourself what are the words that are tricky to pronounce in terms of letters at the end? It tends to be consonants, S's, T's, D's, and other words. Some words have got different issues with that. So that was advice 1, S's, 2, T's and D's, and also the third advice that I would make now is using generic vocab. So whenever you do a paper, then in advance, before the exam, learn a list of sentences that are useful to describe sentences, expressions that can help you to describe a photo. So things like in the foreground, au premier plan, in the background, au deuxième plan, ou à l'arrière-plan, in the background. So you can also use sentences such as je pense que dans l'image il y a, or il me semble que, it seems that, I think that, are very useful sentences. So those are tips from the video. All this vocab you can learn in advance and they will be needed, those items of vocab, they will be needed in your actual speaking task. Then you have some students said tip number 4 or error number 4 are that they place their adjectives the wrong way around. Remember in French, grand, petit, vieux, nouveau go in front of the noun and for example, il est le petit garçon, le grand homme, go in front, whereas some adjectives like heureux, petit, grand need to be put at the end or after the word. So un homme heureux, a happy man, une femme triste, a sad woman. Okay, and that's absolutely important. And remember the place of adjectives and also that adjectives change if they are masculine and feminine, particularly in the speaking. The plurals don't matter too much because we can't hear it, but the masculine and feminine does change. Une femme heureuse, un homme heureux. Okay. Watch out when you describe the photo. Make it look like you are using the photo to describe what the people are doing. I would advise against pretending you are part of the photo because sometimes it gets you muddled up and it makes the examiner get muddled up as well. So that is advice number 5. Advice number 6 is when you use reflexive verbs, like if you've got a photo with a family on it, remember that you need to say nous nous disputons. Put the 2 pronouns in front of reflexive verbs. Ils se disputent. They are arguing. Okay. Also, when you describe your family, then try to make sure that you use ma famille est très grande. Okay, my family is big. In French, you cannot say my family are big. Okay, unless you mean that they are all very tall. Okay, but it hasn't got the same meaning. So in French, you need to use the third person when you describe a family. Okay, so my family is interesting. My family is big, or my family is very large and many people live in it. Okay, so third person. Ma famille est très intéressante. That was number 7. Okay. Then we've got also things that always come up also is age. When you're describing the age of your parents, for example, if you got a photo with a family, you may want to mention your family and how different they are, perhaps. And you have to give your age. And every single year, many students forget that with age, in English, you say I am 12, but in French, you would say j'ai 12 ans. I have 12 years old, or 12 years, in fact. So you have to put the an at the end, A-N-S. Okay, so j'ai 14 ans, j'ai 20 ans. Elle a 12 ans, 24 ou 48 ans, but you need to put the ANS after, and you don't pronounce the S, as we've said before. 14 ans, not 14 ans. Next advice, number 8, is tense. Tenses, try to use multiple tenses in your speaking exam at almost every section, if you could. The photo card, particularly, you could describe what happened before, what happened after, and also when you use the perfect tense, remember that in French you need to have 2 bits. So, elle a regardé un beau film, and not elle a regardé un beau film. You need to have the avoir plus or être plus the extra bit as well. So, elles sont allées. And things like that are very striking when you speak, because sometimes you may not think that you hear it very much, but a French person would definitely do. And remember, you cannot have things on their own, so you cannot say je allais à la plage either. Finally, a lot of students lose mark because they don't signpost their speaking very much. They are not using connectives to say things. So, first of all, second of all, premièrement, deuxièmement, when they are describing photos, it's very useful to for them to know where they are with things. Okay, for the examiners. So, and try to make series of notes of vocabulary so you avoid silly mistakes, such as just basically talking about what you see without any introduction whatsoever. So please do that for your own sake, because it's your exam and it's you will benefit from knowing what the common errors are. And those ones I've repeated every single year in my entire teaching career, so you can really avoid that. If you found those series of advice useful, maybe a bit long, or actually you thought that was perfect, just write it down in the comment below. Engage with us. I want to know what videos you need for yours, and hopefully you've been able to take some notes and make sure that you don't do those mistakes. And by writing it down, sometimes writing it down helps to process and make a list of things that we can do in the future. So good luck for your exams, and we shall be back soon.